guys, welcome back to my channel. Simone here. So today I'm going to be doing my July TBR, and this is going to be all the books that I'm planning on reading in July. Now last month and the month before I read 10 books, so I'm assuming I'm going to get about the same amount of books this time. I've picked 6 books to talk about on my TBR today just because I want to allow myself a little bit of room for kind of whatever I want to read. But these are the 6 books I'd really like to get to, so let's get started. So I will just start with the book that I'm currently reading, and that is The School for Good and Evil by Simone I. I'm not quite sure how you say that. But basically I am currently about 22 pages in, so not far at all. And this follows these 2 best friends, Agatha and Sophie. Sophie is a blonde-haired, beautiful young girl who thinks, you know, she wants to be a princess and she really wants to go to the School for Good. And she thinks that her best friend Agatha, who has very dark hair and is very mysterious and a little bit odd, is going to go to the School for Evil. And basically in the town that she lives in, every year these 2 young children over the age of 12 go missing basically, and then they turn up in fairy stories. And one goes to the School for Good and one goes to the School for Evil. And then the story of this is that when they get taken, Sophie ends up going to the School for Evil and Agatha ends up going to the School for Good, and they are not expecting it. And they don't quite know what to do. And I really like the tagline on this. It says, "One witch girl, one princess, one happily never after," which I think is great. I really like the picture on this. I don't know if you can see, but there's like 2 swans. One's a black swan and one's a white swan. This so far is really good. Like I said, I'm only about 20 pages in though, so I haven't really got into the story much at all. But yeah, I'm hoping to finish this month because, well, I'm on it, so I'm hoping to. Otherwise that means I've spent the whole month reading one. My phone has just gone off. Go away, whoever you are. It's okay, I take it back. It was my granddad just texting me back because he's currently on holiday in Ibiza, so I'm sure he's raving to his heart's content. The next book I plan on reading is You by Caroline Kepnes, which is a thriller about a man who is stalking a girl. And basically this is written in second person, so it's as if the stalker is talking to you. And from what I've heard, a lot of people feel sorry for the guy because obviously he's talking to you, so he's kind of getting in your head a bit, I suppose. This is meant to be amazing. I do love a thriller, and I haven't really read a thriller other than Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, which I read last month. I haven't really read a really thrilling book that really shocked me. So I'll be interested to see if this does that, because I'm really wanting a thriller. I love thrillers, and yeah, I'd like to find another one that I enjoy. So this is the next one. Then I have a book that I plan on taking on holiday with me, and that is Remember Me by Sophie Kinsella. She writes a lot of chick lit books and a lot of like light-hearted fun books. I'm kind of hoping that's kind of what this is. This is about a girl called Lexi who wakes up in the hospital with the knowledge, she remembers her life as her being really ugly and having a really crap life and not great relations with her family, and her love life is pretty terrible. But actually when she wakes up, it's actually 3 years later than she thinks it is, and she's really attractive and she's got a really good boyfriend and a really good job and her life is going really well. So she can't quite believe her luck. And then she starts to realise that actually things are bad, like the people at work don't like her, she has lots of things going on that are actually not that great. And then suddenly this guy shows up and drops a massive bombshell. Again, I don't know what that bombshell is because I haven't read it yet. And it's a case of what on earth happened and where is she and why is she. I'm really excited. This is one we are travelling to Tenby. I'm going to Wales, and we have about a 3.5 hour train journey, I believe. So I will hopefully, I mean, this is quite an easy book to read as far as I can tell, like the words in it are massive, so my hope is that this will not take me, like I can probably read this in about 6 hours, even if not 3. So I could read it on there on the way back, but either way I do plan on reading this and I'm sure I will love it. Then I have a really short one, which is The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket, which is the first book in the Series of Unfortunate Events series. I mentioned this in one of my library hauls before, because this is a library book, that I want to read this because I really want to read the series, because as a kid I think I read like a couple of them, but I didn't read like the whole series. I think there's about 13 in the series, and because I watched the Netflix show and really loved it, I've kind of found my love for this series, so I want to actually read them. So I'm going to start with the first one. It's really short. It would literally probably, I reckon I can read this book in one sitting, so I don't think it will be too much of an ask to read this month, and I'm looking forward to that. Then I have another book in a series that I actually want to continue, and that is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare, book 3 of the Mortal Instruments series. I read City of Bones and City of Ashes, I think earlier this year. I may have read one of them last year, I can't quite remember. And I have all of the rest of the series and I just haven't got to them, and I really need to read them, and pretty soonish, because it's getting a bit silly now. This follows Jason Clary, who are shadow hunters, which means that they protect humans and they kill demons basically. I don't really know, and I don't want to know really what this particular book is about. And even if I did know, I couldn't tell you because that would be a spoiler. But yeah, I really want to continue this series, and because there's 6 in altogether, and people are all reading Lord of Shadows at the minute, which I believe is the 2nd book in her 3rd series about this world. But obviously I can't read any of those until I've read these, so I need to get on it. So yeah, like I said, I'm planning on reading this one this month. Then I have If You Were the Only Girl by Anne Bennett, and that sticker is really going to annoy me. I don't care if you were 3 for £5, it works. I don't need you to tell me that all the time. Here we go. This is a World War II book, I believe. Yes, it's a World War II book, and you all know how much I love World War II books. I don't really know a whole lot about it, so just bear with me one second while I have a quick check. I'm just going to read the synopsis to you because, to be honest with you, I'm not going to be able to sum this up very well. So it says, when Lucy's father dies and her family is plunged into poverty, she is forced to take a job as a scullery maid at Wimthorpe House, home to the aristocratic Hetheringtons, who lost 3 of their 4 sons in the Great War. When their only remaining son, Clive, returns home from his studies, he and Lucy strike up an immediate bond which only deepens as Lucy becomes indispensable to the family. With the outbreak of war ever more certain, the two fall in love, and Clive is determined that the class difference won't keep them apart. But Hitler's troops are gathering, and fate has something very different in store for both of them. It's World War II, it's a romance story, and I want to read it. I love World War II. Like, I've read The Nightingale, I loved that. I've read The Book Thief, I love that. There's just so many of them, and I need to read more. So yeah, please give me recommendations if you have any, because I need to read more World War II books. I love them. And then, just had a coughing fit, so if I look like I'm a bit flushed and a bit sort of cryy, I'm not. I've just coughed myself to sleep. Ugh. The last book that I really want to read this month is The Shining by Stephen King. I think you all know, because I may have mentioned it once or twice, but I've read 3 Stephen King books now. I read Duma Key, 11/22/63 and Under the Dome, and I gave them all 5 stars. And this is going to be my first Stephen King book that's actually a scary one as opposed to like a thriller. So I am terrified, but I'm also really intrigued. And I think if I read this, because it's more late night is like sunshine still, like the days are longer, so I feel like if I can read this in this month as opposed to leaving it till like winter time, I'm probably less likely to be terrified. I don't think I've got the greatest logic there, but who knows. As far as I know, this book follows a family who end up in a old abandoned hotel that may or may not be haunted and may or may not have stuff happening behind the scenes that we don't all know about. So I'm not entirely sure completely what it's about, but I kind of feel like I need to go into this without knowing everything. I'm excited and I cannot wait to read it. So that is the 7 books that I definitely want to read this month. And then like I said, I've left myself a little bit of wiggle room for other books that I may want to read. Let me know down below what books you want to read this month. I'd be very interested, and if there are any books that you think I should read sooner rather than later, let me know. And until then, I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!